That trip was the nail in my coffin. And after everything, my body simply gave out on me. Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Simone Nicole here. I'm gonna try to snap up this back at it again with yet another video. And today's video is a loaded one, as you guys can tell from the title. Picture this. You are in a beautiful paradise city on a tropical vacation in Mexico with your family in a beautiful Airbnb, and every single day you look outside and you want to die because you would rather be literally any place else because you are so sick that you cannot get out of bed for days at a time. That was my reality for the past 2 weeks. So I want to give you guys a bit of context to what we're about to embark in. I am a hard worker. I've always been a hard worker, and I also play hard. What it really comes down to is that I took my body for granted, and I was quickly reminded as to why I cannot do that. Because I refused to sit down, my body forced me to take a sit down. It was a very hard and humbling experience. I really felt compelled to talk to you guys about it because it has caused me to really take a look inward, and it pushed me into this new chapter of my life. Because y'all are my girly girls, I have to share with you guys the consequences of the situation that I was in and what I learned from them. So if you would like to hear all of that and more, then please keep watching. Okay, I want to start the video out by talking about the ever so famous, infamous subject of hustle culture. Too bad I wholeheartedly and fully subscribed to hustle culture for my entire life. I can think about it back in high school. I was an honor student, literally 3.8 GPA with 2 jobs, taking AP classes, in multiple extracurricular activities, not only in extracurriculars, but like speech and debate state champion, you know, that kind of a thing. Then I went on to college and literally didn't slow down. I graduated cum laude, which I achieved while holding down, I think at my height, I had 3 jobs. I was a full-time, of course, student in the theater program. And if you have ever been in the theater program, you know how intense those programs are. And I also ran a multi-million-dollar market as the boss in the building. After I proved that I could do that, even though I had multiple breakdowns along the way, and we'll get to that later, I was like, okay, so this is just who I am. So what did I do? Graduated college and continued to do the same thing. 60-hour work weeks, sometimes 70-hour work weeks, because what? The grind never stops. So stupid. Even though I just roll my eyes and like, so stupid, I'm slowing down. But I mean, even as I sit here, I have 4 different properties that I am responsible for at any given time. I have my personal brand, I have Swipe Talk, I have my brother's brand that I help him run, and then I also am a producer for the YouTube sector inside of our company. I literally never take breaks. It honestly was something that I felt like was admirable, and I wore it as a badge of honor. Because of my inability to give myself breaks, I normalized the fact that I would have a mental breakdown about once a year, like clockwork. When I was growing up, I had an environment that didn't exactly foster like emotions and showing of those emotions. I know I say all the time, I'm a Pisces moon, Pisces sun, Pisces Mercury, Pisces Mars. Like, I'm all Pisces, I'm all emotion. So only as an adult have I figured out that emotions are such a pivotal part of who I am. So me denying such a big part of myself was just doomed to fail, but I didn't have that hindsight. I ended up having a mental breakdown at least once a year, and twice a year in a bad year. It would happen because I just wasn't letting myself deal with my emotions in the moment. Something would hurt my feelings, something pivotally bad would happen, and I would just compartmentalize, and I would just say, I gotta keep pushing on. I patted myself on the back so much for that because that is so revered in our society. So I started to look at it like a superpower. I started to look at it like one of my most favorite things about me was my ability to push through any situation. And to be honest, that's still a really big thing that I like about myself, but I view it in such a different lens. I don't wear me pushing down a big essence of who I am as a badge of honor. But that's me now. I developed this bad habit of not only making the fact that I'm a hard worker personality trait, but a literal pillar of who I am. And that backfired on me in such a severe way. So let's fast forward to present day. I'm gonna speed through what the past 5 months have looked like for me because it is literally insane now that I look back on it. I have not stopped traveling since March, period. Since my birthday. My birthday was on March 18th. 10 days after that, I was in LA for a business trip. Then I flew back home and then immediately went to my cousin's wedding shower the same day. Then 2 weeks later, I went to Detroit for a bachelorette. 1 week after I get back from the bachelorette, I moved into my new apartment in Atlanta. 2 weeks after my move back to Atlanta, I went to Jamaica for my cousin's wedding that I was also a part of. Then I went back to Cleveland for family things in the beginning of June. And then I went back to Cleveland again 2 weeks later because of a death in the family. I flew into Columbus because of my best friend's shower. Then I flew out of Columbus into New Orleans for my best friend's bachelorette party. And then 3 weeks later, went back to Columbus for my best friend's wedding, in which I served as the maid of honor. Then 6 days after all of this, I left for Mexico to be in Mexico for 11 days. And I didn't know it at the time, but that Mexico trip was metaphorically, and I'm not gonna say literally because that's dramatic, but that trip was the nail in my coffin. And after everything that I just named, my body simply gave out on me. So I'll be honest and say that I did start to feel unwell a few days before the trip, but it was more like, I feel a tingle in my throat. Like I feel a little off, I feel a little groggy. I have not been sick in literally years. I think maybe my senior year of college was the last time I was sick in any way, shape, or form. And it's not for no reason. I have a ritual that I do anytime that I'm feeling just a little bit under the weather. I like boost my immune system with vitamins. I drink a bunch of tea, I hydrate myself, I isolate myself. Like basically, I just cut whatever unwellness is trying to get into my body off at its knees. So that's what I did. Instead of maybe thinking to myself like, hey Simone, like you kind of put your body through a lot for the past 5 months. Like maybe your body's like tired. I was like, no, absolutely not. So now that I look back on it and now that I think about it, there was never a point in which I was in Mexico where I was 100%. No, it was not xoxo. It was not, you know, we can't say the full word because, you know, but I just was generally under the weather, kind of. Like I remember when I first landed, I felt completely fine, but I had no voice. Like I literally like trying to talk was super raspy. Unfortunately, in the place that we were in, we didn't have a ton of access to water unless like we went out and bought said water, but with so many people in the home, there was 23 of us total in the Airbnb. Water was going like no other, and this wasn't our favorite Airbnb host that we've had for our family trips, so they didn't keep up with the amount of water we were consuming. In addition to that, we were drinking, and I was drinking heavily every single day because that's when you do when you are on vacation. Mind you, what do you do when you go out of town? You drink. What have I been doing for the past 5 months? Oh, going out of town, you said? Yeah, I can hindsight see so clearly the disaster I was headed for, but I was just too focused on doing what I needed to do. I wanted to give my family fun Simone, just like I had given everybody else fun Simone for the past 5 months. So I wanted to show up, I wanted to turn up, but I didn't have my vitamins. I didn't bring my vitamins like I should have. I was drinking, I wasn't drinking water, and food was kind of scarce in the Airbnb too. So I already was kind of under the weather coming in. I'm not eating, I'm not drinking water, and I'm consuming a ton of alcohol. And I thought that this would end well for me. So by day 5, I took a hard turn downhill and I became the sickest that I've felt in a very long time. And it was especially scary because it was happening in a foreign country. If I really did start to get very bad, I just didn't know what I was gonna do. Like, I know very little Spanish. I don't know what healthcare is like in other countries. It was a very scary situation overall. I literally felt like I went through feeling like I had an upper respiratory infection to a double ear infection to the flu, all within the life cycle of me being sick. And even now to this day, I am not 100%. I still don't have like my full hearing in this ear. And even yesterday, the people around me were like, you still sound sick. I'm going into my 4th week of not being 100% myself. So before I hit that 4-week mark and I was still in Mexico, very much scared, I was still thinking about coming back to work, because one thing about me, baby, I'ma work, period. It didn't even occur to me that I might need to take a break until I had a work obligation that I didn't fulfill. Didn't even remember that I didn't fulfill it until maybe 4 days after it had already passed. And dropping the ball in such a major way was what made me realize that I might need a break. Not the fact that I had been bedridden, like literally could not get up and stay up for more than 20 minutes at a time. Not the fact that I had no appetite. Not the fact that I was spending 8 hours a day asleep. The fact that I dropped the ball on a work project was what made me think to myself like, hey, maybe you need a break. And that's real deep in and of itself, okay? So this next chapter I like to call my reckoning with myself. Once I came back, I did accept that I needed to take a break. So I talked to my boss about taking a week off, and we set up everything to make that happen. And I had to literally pledge to not work, which is really hard as a content creator. Everything is work when you do this for a job. So everything that I did, I have the impulse to film. It was genuinely hard for me to literally do nothing. And in my doing nothing, I had to face how I got to this point that I was at. I started to realize, in even looking back at all of the past 5 months to script this video, I never stopped working. There were points where I could see in my camera roll of me getting B-roll of me being on an airplane and then landing and then shooting content the same day, like coming home, showering, getting dressed, putting on a dress, and going out to take content. I'm literally like getting in at 5 a.m. from a flight and then waking up and having full work days. It was kind of insane to see what I was doing and how hard I was pushing myself, and how simultaneously I felt like I was never doing enough. I never felt like I was showing up enough. And looking back at it, I'm like, girl, you were working so damn hard and it never felt good to you. I ended up filming my most viral moment in the past 5 months. Like I really was putting out good shit, but I never felt full. In addition to that, I had personal things going on, but as I said, I have a really bad habit of compartmentalizing and pushing through things. Through all of this, I had a family member pass away. I expressed in another video that I lost my producer job for a show that I built from the ground up, and not only was that like just hurtful because it was something that I really put my heart into, it was a huge chunk of my income. So that went poof, bye-bye, Miss Girl. And then on top of that, like I was still trying to show up as a good friend, a good daughter, a good aunt, a good sister. And this is such a stupid analogy, but it's like an eraser. Picture your favorite mechanical pencil, right? And the lead is still in the little pencil, but that little eraser is gone, bald. Done, baby. You getting a little black scuff marks every time you're trying to erase something on the little paper on the little test, baby. That was me. I was wearing myself down, and I never stopped to really acknowledge it or face it because I was just so go, 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 go. I gotta get this done. I gotta show up. I gotta do the next thing. Because I had to stop and do nothing, I really had to contend with the fact of, if I don't work, if I don't have this work ethic that is such an integral part of who I am, who am I? I physically couldn't do the work, you guys. Like I took that week off and I was still sick during that week off. My body is my instrument. My body is what I used to do this job that y'all see me doing, and it was taken away from me. Not in a permanent way, no, but definitely in a momentary way. It made me think like, if this all got taken from me, who would I be? Where will my self-image be? I love this podcast by Shambu Dream. I talk about her every other day. Love you. I pray you see this one day. I want to be on your podcast so bad. I want to be your best friend. I love you so much. She just gave birth, and her most recent podcast episode, she said this, and I'll insert the clip.
The biggest lesson that this hard time has taught me is that your definition of self-love cannot be based on your favorite things about yourself. Because that means when you're not capable of being the best version of you, you don't have access to loving yourself, because nothing that you love about yourself do you qualify for.
That clip was so on time for me because it made me ask myself so many questions. How did I get here? What decisions have I made to put me in a place like this? Why was I not listening to my body for so long? Who am I outside of this high producing worker bee? And most importantly, what have I been running away from that I have no choice but to confront? So this next part of my journey is what I so lovingly call my awakening. And I was only able to have this awakening when I was completely still. And by still, I mean not effing working. During my week off, I didn't plan a single thing, which was very hard for me because I am a planner, I am an executor, and I pledged to let my spirit guide me and tell me what I needed on a day-to-day basis. I trusted it, and it just worked out so much for me. I've never felt so aligned and clear in my life. I'm not gonna act like this past week everything just changed for me, and I will give myself credit in saying that I've been laying the bricks and the foundation of what I was able to achieve last week for years. I feel like God and the universe are speaking literally in plain English to me when I ask a question, to the point where I've started a list of notes in my phone for every single time some what the heck just happened moments happen to me. And I'm gonna save all those up for a video eventually. I struggle so much to really talk plainly about like this moment in my life, because I feel like when people like have their spiritual awakenings, it can kind of get caught, but it's not unhealthy in any way. I want to share it. I want to talk about it because I have so much peace and so much joy, and I want everyone else around me to feel that way. And then it's clicking to me. I'm like, God, this is why the Mormons are always trying to sell their good gospel. I'm sorry, that's not an appropriate, whatever. The point is that I get it now when people want to talk about what has got them to a place in life where they are so happy, where they are so content. It makes so much sense to me now, and it's kind of the reason, it's not kind of, it is the reason why you guys are seeing this video. Even in making this video, I'm like, literally, who's gonna care? But I have discovered that that is such a limited way of thinking, and it is perpetuating this notion that no one really cares about me outside of what I can like concretely give to them. Like, I can give y'all a tutorial on how I did my hair, and that's valuable. I can show you guys like my favorite natural hair products to make your hair grow, and that's valuable. The things that are like tangible, I feel like are what are valuable about me. But when I think about how I bring value to the people around me, it's through this. It's through open communication. It's through talking about the shit that I've been through and what I've learned from it, and having open dialogues with the people around me. So if I find value in that, in my personal life and in my deepest connections, why don't I find value on it here? It's weird. It's just something that I had to have kind of like spelled out in front of me, and that I had to be still and be silent to see. One of my favorite things about this week is that I have just, like I said, been guiding myself and letting myself just feel and do what I wanted to do. And I ended up coming across this YouTuber who I love, named Bria Jones. I will totally link her channel down in the description box. Love her. I've never seen this girl, never heard of her before. Last week, and I stumbled across this video. I will let Bria say it best and let her end off my video.
Working yourself into the ground, hustling to the point of no return is not worth it, especially when it starts to affect your mental, physical, and emotional well-being. If you don't have your health, you have nothing. Remember to take the break before the break takes you.
Okay, you guys have made this to the end of my video. I hope that you guys really liked it. I also hope that you guys like this new setup. This is where I'll be filming majority of my content from now on. And I have my eye on some art pieces to put back here. I'm so effing excited. I also I like holding things. I think it's the actor in me. So I'm actually gonna get like a full-on mic, but right now I just have my tiny mic. So let me know your thoughts on my new setup. Let me know your thoughts on this video, what resonated with you, what stayed with you, what you took, what you left. Talk to me, girl. I really hope that this video helped somebody out there, and I really hope that y'all are receptive to this new place that I'm going to take my content. It's not like every single video will be like this, because I'm still a lifestyle girly. I'm gonna still give y'all a little favorite, a little this, a little that. But this is such a big part of me. And on my platform where I feel like I can be the most myself, I'm not being the most myself. So that is gonna change. And that is starting with this video. And I hope that you guys really enjoyed it. With all that being said, you know the motherfucking drill. Remember to keep positivity in your life, because positivity breeds positivity, and we have no time for negativity in 2022. I will see you guys super duper soon next week in a new video. Bye guys.